Hey guys, it's WooGs here. Just going through. I got the gear back from Stoic for the Zerk Barb. So this is kind of the gear he used to do his kill. I think I made some small changes using AR and the gloves and such, but I just wanted to show um, how I would play Zerk, I guess. And I was just kind of curious what it felt like in his setup. I don't think there's too much interesting in Phase 1 and 2. I mean, Phase 2 was kind of, I played terrible because I was not used to playing a Barb for so long, but it was good practice before going into Phase 3. I guess I can talk about, I am using Demon Limb. I think I talked about at the end with gear, but I'm using Demon Limb and Venom Dagger with Grimoire. Just that's the way I'm kind of fixing AR on this build. You can go without all of that if you get some good AR slams, you use some good AR charms, and maybe, yeah, and maybe you can fit some into decks or something too. So I definitely think there's ways you can fix it otherwise, but I think it's really nice. I don't mind pressing a few extra buttons for that extra damage in AR. So you'll kind of see what that looks like here. I didn't know how many pots to bring in. I forgot what Zerk felt like in P1, so I kind of grabbed a bunch. But you see we do our BOs, we do our enchant, get our bodies down, and then do our good board. And we have to make sure we keep our frenzy stacks up. You can do your frenzy stacks on the golems, or on the towers, or on Mendel. So you have quite a few options to get your stacks up. Very similar to all the other Barb builds I was doing. This was a nightmare FHR triple cold wave. I didn't go super high FHR, so that's kind of on me, I suppose, but that's one of the lessons you learn. Luckily Barb has a lot of health, so it wasn't too punishing for that to happen. Grimward seems to last about a full phase. You can kind of do it 2 or 3 times, and that's usually enough for this fight. You can actually, as you see here, I'm able to clear the golems without Grimoire, so you actually don't need it. It just makes it a little bit faster. So I kind of like to use it. You saw that one area where a bunch of cold spires hit me. It's best not to try to run through those. You might get a big splash. Just kind of, if you have like around 90 cold res, you can take quite a few bit of them on the Barb. So just have your pot ready right when they're going to hit you. Make sure you're potting. Obviously, if you can dodge them, dodge them. But if it's looking dicey, just make sure you pot before it. As we saw in this, you don't need that many pots to do this phase. So just kind of pre-pot whenever there's like 2 or 3 spires are going to hit you. Just pre-pot right when they're about to hit you, or right when they hit you, depending on if you're full health or not going into it. I probably re-frenzy too often, but I wanted to try not to drop it at all during this entire fight, and I haven't been playing Barb lately, so I didn't really want to make a mistake there. About a 20-second duration on it at the current level I'm using. So you can kind of wait pretty decent, but I just wanted to have practice. I'm kind of clicking at every initiation onto Mendel, and if he moves, I'm just clicking Frenzy first. So every reposition, Frenzy, and then Berserk. I was just checking my stats to make sure I was all overcapped, because I forgot to check all that kind of stuff, of course. But since it was the gear we kind of handed off, kind of knew that it should be alright. So I guess we saw that we don't need to use that many pots in P1, so you could get away with bringing less with you. Probably decent idea. It will depend on your damage, of course. Obviously, something like Zerk Barb or any of these melees, like it's so dependent on your 2 main weapons, how good they are. So your results may vary. Like obviously, if it takes like 2 extra hits per golem, that's gonna make that part miserable. So it does have a big difference there. I hate clearing these ads, that's why I'm just kind of running through them. That's another reason I brought so many pots, because I just hate running through all these ads, because I don't know, it makes the game time too long. So I'm curious to watch phase 2 because I felt like it was terrible. I don't know if it was just, okay, I got hit by a weird spear there. I don't know if it was just not used to Rathma dodging the spears. I'm not used to the Zerk animation. I mean, right here I'm just tanking fire, so there's not much excuse there. So, yeah, as you hear the noise, you just want to dodge the spears. When the Void Knight spawns, you want to make sure you get your Frenzy up first. So the first one I hit, I would always hit Frenzy first, just to make sure you're not going to run out. And don't worry about, like, you saw that I hit one. This is a bad phase to demonstrate, but you'll see it later as well. But don't worry about finishing a knight necessarily, unless it's the Fizz one. Don't get into danger. So if Rathma teleports near you, or, you know, you're seeming a little bit dicey with Conjuring Souls or something, just wait it out. You have so much damage, you don't need to get stuck. You don't want to be right beside Rathma and the knights together. Yeah, I think that's where I was frustrated. But we're just going to bring the Grimoire up again. Be about ready to have the knights spawn. Here they are. I usually try to go for the Fizz one first, just so I'm not, you know, in Zerk penalty getting hit by the Fizz Knight. It's not the greatest. You don't have any PDR really in this build. You see, Rathma spawned right on that Knight, and I kind of moved away. Obviously, when you have a bit of health back up, you can go back after him and hit him again. I noticed my pots were low, so I just hit Frenzy once and kind of ran away. We're going to re-Grimoire, just because it's lasting about a Void Knight plus a Rathma phase, so we know we can finish the fight on the next Grimoire. Okay, it's going to spawn quite soon, so you kind of want to be ready. So that's, I'm kind of noticing that, so I made sure I had filled up the belt. Dodge the animations when you hear that noise for the 3 coming out. Got my Fizz Knight down first, and then we're just kind of going wherever it's looking a bit clear. Rathma wasn't casting too many spears there, so I was kind of comfortable just kind of meleeing them down. But if he was going into like that spear noise there, I would kind of just back away and wait it out. I think phase 3 will be more interesting. Like I said, I kind of took a lot of damage in P2 unnecessarily, so hopefully my P3 looks a bit better. Yeah, I think I was a bit upset about that, but kind of is what it is. I mean, the fight is never easy. I know I make a lot of these videos, and people, you know, say you can do it on anything or whatever. For some people, can do it on whatever. The fight needs a lot of practice. I've done, you know, thousands of this T2 Rathmas on various different builds, so I'm somewhat comfortable in doing it on most builds. But it's still very hard. Like I can't do it when I'm not focused, like, or you know, not in the right mindset, because it is, you can get hit by some bad spears or some souls or some Void Knights and just die. So it's never like it's 100% guaranteed for anybody. I mean, the best farmers are eventually gonna rip. That happens to all the hardcore people as well. Like if they go, like, eventually, nothing's 100% safe. You can get some builds that are very, very safe that maybe you don't rip in a full season, but if you're gonna end up farming this, you're gonna rip eventually. Especially if you try to conserve pots, which is not really is an interesting idea for videos, but for farming you really should just spend the mal or whatever to get their full page and just use all the pots you can. Ending on 1 or 20 doesn't mean anything to anybody, so just make sure you don't rip.
I can't carry anymore.
Okay, so at the beginning of P3, what we're going to do is get our enchant off, we're going to get our Grimoire down, and then we're going to focus Mendel first. Hit a frenzy, and then start zerking. Listening for the spears and watching the animation to try to move when you hear the spear. I always, when I have a downtime like that, like I wanted to run away because of a spear, I try to make sure I fill up my pods at the same time. So now, Mendel is in his phase. All I'm doing is hitting for frenzy. I'm not doing any damage because I do not want the knights to come at the same time if I can avoid it. Sometimes you do too much damage and there's nothing you can do, but you don't want the poison damage and the knights at the same time. that's just too much rejuice, and you're gonna pot way more because of that. People think, well, the fight will be shorter, whatever. No, it's you're gonna phase. I mean, you're gonna use so much more rejuice during the phase. This guy was hiding in the blue flame, which was annoying, so I ate a spear trying to kill him. Didn't really notice it right away. So now that we are finished that part, so like a third of the fight, I always just kind of pause for a second, fill up my rejuves. You don't need to rush anything down. So now that this phase is happening, you kind of want to dodge some damage. You can see here I'm just standing still because there was nothing to dodge. You don't need to move unless you have to. I run around a lot in some of these fights and I don't follow that advice, but that's something that can be very strong if you actually can get that habit. Again, that was a big chunk, so we're not going to run after that Fizz Knight first. What we're going to do is kind of reset a bit, make sure our frenzy's up, and then when we see a good opportunity, we're going to go after that Fizz Knight. You saw, because before I was getting hit by a lot, and all the knights were around that, so if I ran in after that Fizz Knight, I was probably going to die. So it's better off to just kind of take your time, slow down the fight, don't let it be on their tempo, make sure it's on your own, and then it'll be much safer. So now that he's phased again, I'm just going to use this phase to get my Grimward up, get my Frenzy stacks, and then try my best to dodge whatever damage I can. You're going to have to pot eventually during that phase, but just do your best to kind of dodge some damage. That was a bit bad because I kind of ran out into the Sludge Nova, but that kind of stuff happens. So actually it was a good spawn. I was right beside the Fizz Knights. Rathma teleported away, but I did so much damage that actually Mendel phased there, which you'll see that was a lot of pots I had to use. So I could have saved quite a bit of pots if I would have focused Rathma there. I don't really like to melee down Rathma during this. I much rather hit Mendel because Rathma's spear, he can just do that instant spear sometimes, and it's with a lot of, different projectiles out, you might not hear it or you might not see it. So it's not really worth doing. So what we're going to do is just listen, that 3 spear count, hit down, men down. See here, we're just splitting the bosses, just doing any damage we can. At this point I don't really want to be in the corner there, but he wasn't moving, so we're just going to finish it off. And I think I switch over the audio now, so I'll go back to the live in-game audio. Hey guys, so here's the gear set. This is what Stoic used for his kill. Just wanted to showcase a Zerk Barb. I'll just go through. So it is a 6-socket GF with ohms in it, which is quite nice. S1. Vex Ohm Gull in the Andes. Just a +3 res, 75 PLR AMI. The Doombringer is just a shale ohm. That's to get the well, it's because it should be 92 there we go, 92 IAS. So when I have my max frenzy, I only need like 70 odd, but I kind of put some more points into frenzy just to get the longer duration. Just some AR ghoul hides, it's a low AR nature's piece. Definitely could have yeah, that's okay. PLR belt plus max, nothing too crazy. Nice res PLR ring, I really like this one. 7 max water walk, so I could probably get rid of these if I fix some other reses to keep this nice. Charms, I have some combats, some masteries, all res, and then some AR charms and some res charms and some stat charms. For stats, I kind of just went around here. I have to see what I did exactly, but I maxed Berserk, maxed combat reflexes, 1 point here. I maxed general mastery, 1 point everything here. Then I just kind of went down to 20 seconds on duration of frenzy because I felt that would be comfortable without dropping it, I think. And then the rest into taunt, and that's kind of where we left off. So could probably use a bit more levels to get more AR. So you'll see on swap, I guess I should talk about, I have the Venom Dagger, which is getting me my Desecrate, and Demon Limb for my enchant. So I'm sitting at like 84% chance to hit Rathma. Um, when I get my BO up, enchant, 86, nothing too crazy. My damage 17 to 11k. And then with Grimoire up, you see, it's because I crossed there. Okay, let's calculate it. But you see, I have much more AR now, and the damage goes up by a little bit there. So yeah, that's kind of the Zerk kill. Phase 2, I did pretty terribly, as you saw, but then Phase 3, so yeah. Um, I guess I can show the stats here with Frenzy real quick. With Frenzy, if I just get this up. Not quite. I mean, I'm probably max frames already, yeah. Before the Frenzy's finished, done. Alright, now it's kind of done. And you'll see I would only need 78 IAS, so, you know, you could do a lot better in some of these stats here for that. And you could play around with, points into increased speed and stuff. Barb has a lot of options. The charms as well, masteries, combat, plus max, everything's kind of nice on a Barb. But yeah, so that's what the Zerk Barb looks like. Cheers.